All right. Peace, y'all. All right. We fixed it. Give me a thumbs up if the audio was good, y'all. Peace, y'all. Okay. Yeah, I changed the server and everything. So we should be good. All right. So peace, love, and light. Today is our good brother, it's Nipsey's born day, right? Out west they say it's the C Day. So we want to celebrate the brother's life and legacy. I want to bring on my business partner, Majesty from Street Knowledge TV. This brother was instrumental. Shout out to Nadi. Nadi's in the building as well. These are individuals that were there, over a decade ago, working directly with Nipsey, putting all of the pieces together. And, even at the time of his transition, I always was like, there's something that's going to come out of this that potentially will make us better in regards to the learning lesson. Like, what do we stand to learn as a community, as a people, as melanated people, as creatives, as innovators, what can we walk away with? So there's been a good amount of time, since the brother's untimely demise for us to extract enough of the information and the lessons to say, yo, what can we share? Like, what have we learned from that point leading up into now? What would be our brother's lasting legacy in regards to, him teaching beyond the grave? So, with no further ado, I want to bring on our good brother Majesty. Give me 1 second. And yeah. So, thank y'all for joining us back. Hopefully, there should be no.
We here. What's up?
We're in the building. Peace,
yes,
God.
Sir. Let's talk about it. Peace.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, y'all. This is Majesty, Street Knowledge TV. You know what I'm saying? This is the brother that was responsible for capturing the documentation of Nipsey Hussle's ascension. He went to the 60s. He shot the documentary. He went on tour with the brother. You know what I'm saying? And he has remained in contact with him, through that duration of time leading up until his untimely demise. And he's one of the best researchers in the game. So, while there's a lot
of thank you.
I don't want to say miscommunication, but there is a unprecedented amount of restructuring of our brother's legacy. And the danger that comes with that is that when the truth comes out, it has it starts tarnishing the myth. You know what I'm saying? But if you just stick with the facts to begin with, then we don't have to worry about tarnishing nobody's legacy. So our brother, his legacy, as we always known, as we did when we met him, is that he was an innovator, he was a visionary, you know what I'm saying? And he always thought as a chess player, he moved certain moves ahead of what you initially saw,
I agree.
Yeah, so, when it comes down, like, where he was at the time of his demise, I'm sure that he was making moves as a chess player, and he got, caught, without having the board fully laid out the way that he had planned it to. So we've seen from the paperwork, that the brother didn't necessarily have a stake in the businesses as people were led to believe, at least on paper, right? And there was strategic reasons for that. You know what I'm saying? As I'm continually reading the accounts offered by David Gross, and he said, look, we had to go and get the funding and investment capital, and his brother had felonies and gun charges and what have you.
Exactly.
Well,
let's kind of start from the beginning and quickly work our way up to that point. My relationship with Nipsey I'm gonna say it's kind of unique in that when I first went to LA to film Nipsey, I stayed at Nipsey's house. So I slept in a room. Nipsey had a room, and his father lived there. And at the time, Black Sam was incarcerated.
And this is before he had his daughter, correct?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I think
news of her was just released that she was about to come. From what I remember.
Yeah, like she was pregnant. Yeah, she was pregnant at the time, and at that time, the record label had actually moved Nipsey to Beverly Hills, where he was in an apartment staying. So at that time, the record label felt that where he was living at, that he needed to be out of that atmosphere and be able to concentrate on his career. So they moved him to a luxury apartment building in Beverly Hills. And I remember seeing the Simmons girls also living there. So it was definitely a move by the record label to get him out of his neighborhood for his safety and well-being.
For them to get the return on their investment and to make sure that that investment is secure. Basically.
Of course, right. But, you know, what Nip was that neighborhood was in the fabric of who he was. So regardless to the fact that they moved him to Beverly Hills, he always came back to his neighborhood. It was just him. You know what I mean? And it was more than just, you know, I want to hang on the block. Like, he just had a love for his area and the people in that area. And regardless to how big of a star that he would become, he would have never left that. You know what I mean? That just was who he was. So, you know, that's my earliest memory of Nipsey, is going out there and seeing exactly where they had him living at that time back in 2008.
Right. So, you know, to be clear with the people, this is not a relationship that was established between the record labels with you and Nipsey. This is something that we were able to forge before that and walk into a record label and get a position to work on a project. But that was already co-signed by Nipsey and Johnny Shipes.
Yeah. You know, well, you know, the actual first time that I met Nip was actually in the studio. And when I met him and I was listening to him, and first of all, he just didn't sound like the traditional Cali with the Cali accent, you know, but, you know, you would hear cuz and stuff like that. But, you know, he just was like a really, really smart dude. He almost gave me a vibe that he was from New York. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, the way that he spoke. And after him and conducting the first initial interview that we did in the studio in New York, Midtown, 42nd Street, the first thing that I said to Johnny Shipes and the rest of the team was that, look, man, you got to film this guy. Where's he from? You know what I'm saying? Where he's originally from. Like, y'all bringing him to New York and filming him in New York, but he needs to be where, you know, because when he explained to me his life growing up in Los Angeles, and particularly South Central and the surrounding areas, I knew that I couldn't film anymore without actually going to Los Angeles to film him in his area, because he represented it to me like to the 10th level, you know?
Yeah, too vividly to not have the backdrop accompanying this story. You know what I'm saying? And it wouldn't play out the same way. So the end result was a documentary that was shot. It was called Turned Up. You know, as I explained to people, this is the first time that I've heard that terminology ever used.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
yes,
You
yes.
know,
When
we
I was
introduced that
out there,
documentary,
everybody was saying turned up.
yeah, Turned Up, and it means something different. You know,
Right.
out
Yeah,
west.
it wasn't twerking or dancing or anything like that. It just was like, like a street level energy that was going on out there. But go ahead.
So, you know, upon your arrival out there, you know, like you got the cosign from Big U because nobody had ever shot in the
Nobody.
60s, right? Prior to
Nobody.
that.
And, I hope this, this live goes out to a lot of people because I see a lot of stuff being said about Big U and, people coming with all type of conspiracy theories and, basically, dragging his name through the mud and really don't know the situation. You know what I mean? Like, Big U was instrumental in me being able to go out to Los Angeles and film and capture the neighborhood. Big time movies couldn't come out there and film. You know what I mean? So from day one, he was supportive of Nipsey and everything about Nipsey. You know what I mean? So, when I see all these different guys posting this stuff on YouTube, I know specifically they do not know anybody in the situation. Now, that's not to say there weren't issues down the line that may have happened, that happens within families. These fight, the family feuds, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. But since day one, when I went out to Los Angeles, Big U was 1,000% supporter of Nipsey and everything Nipsey did. And he basically made it possible for me to go out there with a camera and capture what was going on.
Right. So, I've explained to them on different occasions. The documentary was a success. We did 1 million views on World Star in the first 24 hours. And nobody cut a check to World Star because the record labels didn't have the relationship with World Star like that at the time. They fought us to even, that decision.
Put it on World Star. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't understand it at the time. This was before World Star was what World Star was in the eyes of the record label, the streets. So,
knew about it, of course.
The brother did 1 million views in under 24 hours. You know what I'm saying? So we knew that we were dealing with somebody that had that sort of energy and magnetism about him. But as the labels explained, that doesn't translate into record sales. That's not BDS. There's no way that they can financially gauge that sort of traction. You know what I'm saying? So they kind of fell back. And ultimately, the brother got, what did he get, released from the label?
Yeah, he got dropped. But hold up. We got to bring it back just a little bit.
Okay.
Is that, after I made this initial connection, then I brought on, my version of the Avengers, which included you, which included Nadi, which included Danny. So,
Danny,
right. You know what I mean? So, I made that first initial connection and that relationship with Nip, but that was just the genesis of it. I had, tremendous help from you guys and making all of that a reality. And then, we put in all this work and then, we posted this content on World Star, and then it basically, it took off. And, everybody wanted to work with Nip, you know, relationships blossomed, you know, Drake even tweeted that he felt Nip was, you know, the hottest artist at the time. You know, Nip would go on to be on the cover of XXL. And basically, you know, all of this ground swelling of people, you know, knowing about Nip and stuff like that, his music did not sell. So once his music didn't sell, the label decided that they had spent so much amount of money and they really couldn't justify spending any more money, because though the streets fell in love with Nip and, you know, every artist wanted to work with him, and, you know, it's just those first few songs didn't connect on a mainstream level. So the label made the decision to drop Nip. And, you know, from that point, and then, you know, there was a time when DJ Khaled, who, you know, I know people may think that DJ Khaled was late to the party on Nip, but DJ Khaled had tried to get Nip on Def Jam, right, like 2010. Like Khaled been wanted to work with Nip, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that's basically what started Nip on his independent grind, because he kind of felt, you know, that the labels really wasn't understanding his music, and he kind of, you know, he just had like a bad taste in his mouth of dealing with the labels. And then, you know, being that he was already an entrepreneur, already had a store, you know, because the Marathon store was called Slauson Tees.
I remember.
And, right. And yeah. He had that ever since I came out to LA. So the entrepreneurial spirit was in him since I met him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so,
I remember they used to have the round racks, you know what I'm saying, with the open tables and shit.
Right. So for him to decide that, yo, I'm going to go independent and I'm going to do my own thing, that wasn't really a hard thing for him to do, because, you know, Nip been getting money. You know what I'm saying? Nip already was, if you want to say, successful on a street level. You know what I mean? So he already, you know, knew what money was and was used to having, and, you know, he had cars, and, you know, not to say that that's a measure of money, but, you know, Nip was already somebody that if the record label didn't get his movement, he was going to push his movement himself.
Now, because I'm saying you've been on tour with him, you know, for the better part of, y'all ran around the country. So what was the people's receptivity towards him? Like, how did his fans connect to him?
It was phenomenal, man. Like, it was his response. And, you know, you're talking about we going around to places that are blood territories, just to be, you know, frank, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, you got this LA Crip coming through, and, you know, I can remember being on stage, and, you know, it's like 200 Bloods in the audience, and, you know, they got flags up, and but they saying, yo, we love you, yo, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like the craziest thing ever, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, that's not to say a couple of times we didn't, you know, feel like things was getting hot, and, you know, maybe we had to, you know, move out the town a little quickly, but, you know, he definitely got a lot of love, man. I'm talking about back then, you're talking about 2009, I was seeing soccer moms come on the tour bus. I'm talking about soccer moms coming on the tour bus to get autographs and take pictures with Nip. So, you know, his, like, star power was from back then. And that was part of the reason why the documentary, and I want everybody that's watching this live to go on YouTube and look up the making of hip hop's next superstar. And the reason why I was named that is because as soon as you met Nip and you spoke to him, you knew that this guy was a special dude. You know, I just feel, you know, conflicted that the world, it took for him to get murdered for the rest of the world
to find out what we were doing.
Really, because we knew it from the beginning. That's why it was like
literally day one.
Right, from day one.
I explained to people the situation. I had just got into that incident with NYPD, so we didn't feel comfortable standing on 125th because we had to subsidize our you know, what we were doing at night with the media, with the cameras. It wasn't initially paying, so we had to subsidize our lifestyle by figuring out how to make bills and rent and everything else.
Exactly.
So we hustled in the daytime on 125th in front of the Apollo, right?
Yeah.
We were hustling T-shirts, and we were very successful at that. You know, we had caught the Obama wave.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we were killing them, like literally. You know what I mean? So I had got into the incident and we couldn't hug the block no more. So we had to figure out a career life decision, you know what I'm saying? And the Nipsey situation popped up right away, you know, because Bang Out, we went to see Bang Out. He was like, oh, that's somebody that might need some camera work. So we had to make a life decision. And we were comfortable enough within 24 hours of meeting this brother
to know that we could put all them eggs in that basket. To know we could
put all the eggs in one basket, to be like, yo, this is it. You feel me? Like we done found the next superstar. Yeah. And nobody knows it. And that's even better. That gives us the best motherfucking opportunity to build from the ground up. So I remember that level of excitement to be like, yo, this is a diamond in the rough. You know what I mean? Like we failed forward.
Yeah. And let me interject right there. And okay, so meeting Nip was one thing, his persona, his personality, but he had music to match. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, you know, not only do I want you to go look at those initial documentaries with Nip, but go listen to those first mixtapes. You know, a lot of people know about Nip from Victory Lap, his final album. But you got to go early in his catalog. You know, in my opinion, you know, I used to always argue with, you know, one of his day one supporters, my man SDC. And, you know, we always felt like Nip was better when he was first coming out. You know what I'm saying? Like we thought that Nip, you know, kind of fell off a little bit compared to his early work. So, you know, don't get it twisted. Like Nip was a rapper. His favorite artist was Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? Probably his second favorite artist was probably Nas. And this is what he listened to. So, you know, beyond the whole LA 60s, all of that, don't get it twisted. Nip was a rapper who really, really enjoyed rapping. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people that haven't really gone early into his catalog are missing out. You know what I'm saying?
So, Bullets Ain't Got No Name series, you know, the people, you know, if you really want to dig into his archive, you would have to get into that. You know, I always said Crenshaw was my favorite, but
right. Yeah. I want people to really go into that listen to everything, man, and then you'll see how he evolved into Victory Lap. You know what I mean?
Facts. Now, you know, because I know that you have stayed abreast of, you know, Nipsey and all of the business moves that he was making leading up to Victory Lap, leading up to, you know, his untimely demise. You know, what is it that you would have to speak on and say about
the business and how he handled the business, that other entrepreneurs and other independent artists that are looking at this can walk away and be like, okay, well, that's where I need to put my energy and my resources?
Well, I would say because, you know, we are the most creative people on earth, but we have to also understand that there's a counterpart to that, and you have to secure your work. You know what I mean? And I'm specifically talking about operating as a business once you, because, you know, pretty much how things are is, okay, you create the idea first, and then you need to secure that idea. And, you know, as we see, you know, once he, you know, passed away, is that, you know, you have different people that, you know, came out and wanted to claim the marathon continues. You know what I'm saying? I've heard that they've rescinded that, you know.
Right, the Crips LLC.
Right, the Crips LLC. I heard that they rescinded it, and they, you know, they made a statement and stuff like that. And I think they even apologized. But, right, you know, we tend to put all of the energy into just the creative part and not securing everything on the business end. And when you do research and you read about it, like Nipsey is not an anomaly. When you just look at people, period, you know, I'm talking about, I read stuff going back to Abraham Lincoln's estate, where they talk of word, they took it back there. You feel what I'm saying? Where that, you know, these legendary figures, you know, did not secure who and what is in charge of the estate when they're gone. You know what I'm saying? And it's something that's not just, see, we think it's all that you have to be rich and famous and a celebrity and a rapper and an NBA player and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But it's not. It's for all of us. It's a lesson for all of us to say, you know, to really secure everything with legally, paperwork wise. Like even us, you know, we were just creative. We were, you know, like, we were just creating. We was just 12 hours. Yeah. Right. We was just 12 hours a day, 16 hours a day on the computer. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't give the equal time that we should have business wise. You know what I'm saying? Because we were so concerned about, we're going to make this guy a superstar. So that's all we cared about. But the lesson is that, you know, you have to have things in place on, you know, even if you're young and you in perfect health and, you know, you drinking your gold water and you taking your black seed oil and you this and that and you looking like a spring chicken, you still have to designate who is in charge of what in case you leave the planet sooner than expected.
Right. Unexpectedly, right.
Right, because what happens is that then your estate is in turmoil and you have to go to probate court and you have to have them settle it. So now you have to pay attorneys. And I spoke with a legendary photographer. His name is Jim Alexander, and he deals with a lot of, he's 83, so he has pictures for the last 60 years, and he was mentored by Gordon Parks and all this other stuff. And speaking to him about the legacies, I'm talking about the greats, like the James Browns and what's the guy name? He was a politician, a light-skinned politician.
Adam Clayton.
Yes, all of them. So
right.
He was around since their time. And when you do not designate, I don't care how good of a businessman you are, it's just a big problem on the family once you gone, because you have to say, I want this person and this person to run things. Because not only does it, you don't have to go to probate court, which, you know, because see, okay, when you go to probate court, then they're going to take their fee out of the estate. The estate is going to have to pay for that. You know what I'm saying? And then what it does is it also opens you up to the creditors, right? So now if you see, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, American Express came out and said, oh, he owes us $50,000. And, you know, who knows what other creditors that did. Now, American Express, that was out in the public. Who knows what creditors behind the scenes is saying, you know. So, you know, honestly, it goes back to a lot of the things that the Moore's been saying for decades in terms of trust. And, you know, people think that, you know, all of that stuff is just stuff just being said to be cute, but it's actually real, because you need to protect those assets in case of your demise, because if you don't, it's going to be the lawyers and it's going to be the state that
the court
that benefits. Right.
They're going to divvy it up. You know what I'm saying?
And trust me, I'm not on here like I'm no expert. You know what I'm saying? Like, Nipsey passing made me go and start really reading up on things and learning. So I'm not standing up here, you know, on my high horse like, oh, I knew this forever. No, this is all new information that I'm learning. And now I'm looking at it like, damn, them videos that I was looking at with the Moors, now I should have been paying attention to them joints 10, 15 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But, yeah. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, I mean, you know, same way. You know, not that I wasn't listening, but I really didn't take the fullest stock in how important black and white was. And we're not talking about the race, black and white. We're talking paperwork.
Exactly.
Black ink on white paper can bind you, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And not have you tormented from the grave, but yeah, you'll still be locked into this matrix because you still owe. Your creditors are still coming at you.
Yes.
Your family's in turmoil. Your shit is upside down. So how can you rest in peace? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is a strategic game. Like, life is to really be taken, you know, serious, family. You know what I'm saying? Because you can leave something here that's substantial, and it can reverberate and last through lifetimes and generations. And you can create something today that feeds your baby.
Exactly.
But you have to secure that. So the things that you're not even mindful of, this is the reason why the Europeans will give you the bag today, laugh, pop ace with you, and all of that. They got the signature.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You see T-Pain just came out and said he blew through 40 mil.
40 mil?
40 mil. So it's not like you can't get to the bag, but it's going to be, can you keep it? There's a way to get to the bag for every single person. Is the point of it is, are you going to secure it? Hold on. I want to say one thing. I have to,
of course,
kind of rewind back, right?
Take your time.
I have to give, and you mentioned it, but I have to give props to my brother Bang Out, because he was the one. He was the first person that I ever heard mention Nipsey Hussle. And he said to me, he was the one that said to me, yo, I know the best rapper. He's going to be an icon. He's this and that. And he told me this. And, you know, we hear stuff like that all the time. Oh, so-and-so's this rapper. But my man Bang Out, man. You know what I'm saying?
Bang Out, yeah.
He was the one
And it's what, 07, 08?
Early 08.
Okay.
And he said to me, he was working on Nipsey's project at the time, and he said to me that, yo, I'm working with this. First of all, we heard the name Nipsey Hussle, like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? At first, Nipsey, who the hell is that? You know what I'm saying? Nipsey Russell, nigga, who you? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, bang out, man. And you know, we definitely gonna shine some light on him, you know, later on in, you know, the documentary that we're gonna put together. But that brother sold me on him. And if it wasn't for him making that initial connection, we don't know what would have happened. We know Nip would have been some type of, Nip might have been a hood star, just a legend in his neighborhood or whatever. But in terms of Nip becoming who he became and then later into an icon, it's at Bang Out's feet. You know what I'm saying? Because he was the one that made that initial connection and felt that what I was doing could help out what they were doing with Nipsey. So definitely got to give props to that man right there. You know what I'm saying? You know, we know
always. Shout out.
Yeah, we know a lot of people have, you know, taken credit for the latter part of it, but you know, we have to go to the genesis on how it got there and the people who, you know, never.
Yeah,
right.
The unsung heroes who don't get mentioned. You know, Bang Out did so much behind the scenes in terms of advocating and spreading, you know, the good word. And we're talking about being in New York, you know what I'm saying, and being in the New York dominated music industry where New York was still looking to find its sound and get his place and his footing back in the industry. And here, you know, we all running around with a West Coast artist like, nah.
Right.
Cuz is the next one.
Exactly. For real. You know, exactly. You know. But you know, I hope that, you know, because I do, you know, I do want to, it's his birthday. So, you know, I'm glad we touching on the, you know, the parts about, you know, securing, you know, business wise, you know, stuff like that. We can go back into that. But, you know, I just want to say that I miss him. You know what I'm saying? I miss his energy and, you know, different, you know, like, I ain't going to stand up here and say Nip was perfect because none of us was perfect. Like, Nip was hard-headed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when I told Nipsey about Twitter, right?
Right.
And I remember we had created his Twitter in a house or something, and then I went to go present him with the Twitter, and Nip was like, nah, man, I don't know about that. I don't know about that Twitter. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, Nip, I'm telling you, man, Twitter, you need a Twitter. He did not want to get a Twitter, right? And then, and it's funny because Twitter will become the thing.
Look, all the handles, all the inspirational quotes,
all on his Twitter.
Right?
And then I don't know who it was that he saw, and he was like, yo, man, yo, that Twitter thing, yo, that's the shit. I'm like, yeah, nigga, I'm telling you, you need to be on there. And gave him, you know, that's how he had Nipsey Hussle, because all of those things was early. You know what I'm saying? And so, come on, you think about it now. If you try to get you ain't gonna get your original name or the name you want because somebody done snatched it up. So that shows you how early.
I'm here with Jackie, so this is 2 points, right?
Right.
Because every time I see her, she be like, I told y'all niggas about Twitter. I told y'all about Facebook and YouTube in 05. You would have been ahead of the shit was even out of 05.
No, love to Jackie, and we gonna finish up her unfinished business too, because that's another icon that y'all gonna be like really like shocked and all of that. Like they gonna hear that history, because certain forces try to bury Jackie and what she did, but that story gonna get told, and she's still looking good, keeping her shit together, so it's coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just like Nip was hard headed, but if it made sense, he would finally come to it. So I don't want anybody to think that like he just whatever the wind blew. No, you know what I'm saying? Like, he made his own decisions. You know what I'm saying? Some of them good, some of them bad, like anybody else. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah, this would be the opportune time to ask you, because industry politics. You know what I'm saying? How did you feel initially versus now about the deal with Atlantic, to put out Victory Lap? Was that a smart move?
I'm saying, at the end of the day, it's real hard to carry a record label on your own. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I remember years back when I read the story about Tech Nine and who was successful, and he talked about how he lost $2 million trying to put out singles on the radio, and it never connected. And so somebody like Nip, you got to think, even if he's getting money, which he was, you know what I'm saying, it's still going to be extremely difficult to have a fully self-funded record label and be able to put yourself out there. And I'm talking about every dollar included, from the Proud to Pay and all of that. It's still going to be difficult. And I think Nip probably felt like he, on his first run, that he did not go to where he was supposed to go. You feel what I'm saying? Because you got to think, him and Drake started out neck and neck.
Same time, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think he thought that, you know what? And if you go into his interviews, he felt like, okay, this is what with the engine that they have, this is what can put me on that global, worldwide level. You know what I'm saying? Trust me, I wish he could have stayed independent and grinded it out and just kept doing it himself, but it's extremely difficult. And I think he wouldn't have been able to put out, because you got to think about it. To do interviews, you got to get on the plane. You got to fly to New York. You got to fly here. You got to fly there. Like, all of that adds up. You feel what I'm saying? So if you're not sitting on a couple $1 million just for that, just for the promo part, to go visit radio stations and do this and that, and go
all over the market, all over the country, it's the main market.
So I think that it was just I just think it was a smart move to get with them, because now he could kind of like just concentrate on being an artist and have the infrastructure of a label to say, okay, we're going to send you here. We're going to send you here. You know what I'm saying? So, I think the independence was in his heart, and that's how he moved. And if he sat down with Atlantic, he came like, he didn't just come like, oh, I'm a rapper, this. Nah, he came like, look, this is what I'm trying to do. This is this is that, or whatever. So, and he had
the leverage, right?
Right. You know what I'm saying? And, so, if you really go to the bare bones of it, signing a record deal is pretty much never good. You know what I'm saying? Because at some point you're going to have to give up something when you're dealing with a major label. You know what I'm saying? But I just think that he did what was necessary at that time to get a second wind in his career. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, he hadn't put out a project for a couple of years. You know what I'm saying? He had his hardcore loyal fan base, but this was like going up to the plate and trying to hit that home run. You know, because you know, publications and all that had written Nipsey off.
Yeah, I remember.
Complex, all types of people had said, you know what I'm saying?
Had read them off.
Yeah, they had said that he had the most potential but never blew up. So, you know, he had to do something. And, you know, like I said, man, I just wish.
Yeah, I mean, not to cut you, but from what I remember, marketing, right? The strategy was to align his release at the time that the NBA All-Star came to LA.
Yes. Oh, yes. I remember that.
February 16th, right? So that was the weekend of All-Star. So in order for him to catch the right alignment, which entails major marketing dollars, because everything in the city is going to cost twice as much, you know what I'm saying? And you want to get the look, you want to touch the amount of audience. He had a considerable following from NBA players and stuff of that nature. You want to put on for your city. You want your presence to be grandiose or what have you. You know what I mean? He went and got the marketing budget. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
he was
able
to put videos together.
He had a commercial that debuted with Kawhi Leonard when Kawhi Leonard still had a Nike deal. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So yeah, you know, definitely.
Yeah. That was all, you know, strategy, and it played well. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have the most commercially success album.
No.
Feel me? But his shit was Grammy nominated.
Exactly. Yeah.
His shit was Grammy nominated.
And you know what? And it's funny because sometimes, a lot of the times, the record labels have to catch up with the public. And this time, I think the public had to kind of catch up with the record label, because the only way you get Grammy nominated is if you have a superly successful commercial album, or the industry is pushing for your album. And you got a lot of people that are on the Grammy committee that votes and stuff like that. And so, you know, prior to his death, he had a lot of people pulling for him.
I really feel that project number 2 would have been, I mean, let's be clear, because we're talking about, you know, you from New York, same way I am. Reasonable Doubt did not kick the door down.
No, it took people didn't catch that to the second wave.
The second wave was the 3rd or 4th album.
Right. Yeah, then people went back. Like,
yo,
this is the classic.
To the archive. So, you know, a lot of people kind of include, like, I didn't feel Victory Lap I felt like it had 1 or 2 that, you know what I'm saying, I didn't feel was classically arranged or what have you. But I used that. It was very inspirational. I love that album. I still play it to this day.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But I do feel that he was building the momentum for his second album, you know, for him to be a household name, because he was still building to that.
Right.
You know, I felt that if he had completed the Savvy documentary, that was strategic for him to get a global light on him, you know, or move it to a different place in terms of him being a social entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw, you know, the real estate and all of that, all of these things building up for his second or third album to be that one where he could get a look that's like, oh, I got a platinum plaque now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and I want the audience to know that that was 15 years in the making, damn near.
Yeah.
You know, that was 15 years in the making. So, you know.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me stop you there. If we're going to say 15 years in the making, you got to also throw in Steve Lobel. If he see this, and we didn't say he'll kill me.
Yeah, we didn't.
Steve Lobel
We didn't mention
Big
Steve
U,
Lo. We didn't mention Steve
Johnny
Lobel's
Shot.
name. He often doesn't get mentioned. Right? Yeah, you
Okay,
back.
go ahead.
And
Yeah,
you know,
somebody called me.
somebody made a point the other day. They's like, man, you know, these Jews that give cosigns in the industry, you know, they only be cosigning the gangster rap.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I'm like, first I gotta ask them, have you ever met Nipsey? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if you
Right. Right.
never
Right.
met Nip, then it's like, I mean, Nip was more than a gangster rapper. And
All
if
the
you
way.
met Nip, if you knew Nip, you knew that. Well, you had confidence enough to say, no, this is the Trojan horse that I'm gonna put into the industry on some gangster rap shit because
Mm-hmm.
he's the only one that has enough intellect to be able to flip the narrative without actually, you know, throwing down the rag or, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. It just wasn't.
Throwing the set under the bus. Like, no,
Right.
he's gonna just start rotating at a counterclockwise different degree while you got the camera on him. So he
Mm-hmm.
was strategic enough to know, like, nah, I could take this conversation to somewhere where y'all have never taken it. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? So Steve Lobel was genius in that. Johnny
Mm-hmm.
Sipes was genius in that. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Because Johnny Sipes has went on to what? Big Crit, Joey Badass,
Badass. Yep. Yep.
Currency at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Before they had to fall out. So
Yep.
if
Yeah.
if their Jewish mind was only set on propagating, you know what I'm saying, artists that had destructive messages in their music, then you
Listen,
know what I mean?
look. Let me give you a tidbit. Look, and like I said, I won't take anything from them. I remember sitting in the studio, and Shipes was doing his best to try to sign Kendrick Lamar. When Kendrick Lamar, nobody knew who Kendrick Lamar was, and Kendrick Lamar came to the studio with the rest of TDE, you know what I'm saying? And they was in New York to take care of some business. And at that time, it was just J-Rock. That was the
He was hot,
face of the level. Right. And Shice was doing his damnedest to try to sign Kendrick. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know.
Yeah, I remember we was in a studio on 23rd Street. Shout out to Dapper, my dude from Flatbush, right? Dapper was with J-Rock at the time.
Right.
And J-Rock came to the studio and they did a song with Nip.
Yes.
And J-Rock was he had the heat. And you told me what? They had went on tour together and they had Kendrick behind the van like this, catching
exactly. So so he definitely, you know, and look, let's be honest, you know what I'm saying? You know, Jewish people, they got some gangster shit with a lot of the shit in their culture. So them being attracted to a gangster type element, it ain't gonna be no big surprise. You feel what I'm saying?
That's not a foreign concept.
Right. You feel what I'm saying? Maya Lansky, all of this and that, you know, so it's not like they just so foreign to, you know, so
to see the shit, know how to package it, and understand the aesthetics.
Yeah.
Like that's in their blood. They get it. You feel me?
Yeah. But but you know, I gotta jump off. I just want to say I was glad that I did this live. It was, you know, refreshing to talk about some of the positive aspects of, you know, Nip. There's been a lot of stuff that came out in the news that, you know, like I told you, they trying to throw haymakers to the legacy, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely miss the brother, and I feel sad that the world wasn't ready for him in 2008. You know what I'm saying? I wish the world was ready for him. You know what I'm saying? It took a decade for people to understand and look at his old interviews, and we have to start not waiting until death before we start recognizing who the people that's putting it down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
that's why, I want the family to know who you are.
thank you. I
Give you your
appreciate that.
roses. This is a genius. He's
Thank you.
responsible even for, this success that you think, what I'm saying, that when you look at me as a journalist or a video personality.
Yes.
Let's take the
Video.
when he met me, I was a
Right.
journalist with pen and
Yes.
paper.
I
He
appreciate
was
that.
responsible for put me in front of the camera and helping me hone my skills on camera as a videographer, a journalist, a video
When
personality.
they see the
Period.
archive, they gonna be
Yeah. So
shocked. You know what I'm
when
saying?
I tell y'all about, the archives where we got Big Meech and
Oh my God, the archives
Obamas
they
and any
coming.
and every rapper you could think of, all of that is in the vault.
Scientology. Wait till
Yeah,
it's coming.
yeah,
It's
all
coming.
that's not for
But
YouTube.
yeah, man. Yeah, that's what's coming. But like I said, I got to give another shout out to the
Yes,
team.
yes,
You know what I'm
Nadi,
saying? Nadi.
Danny.
You know what I'm saying? My genius brother, my
Yeah,
intelligent sister. You feel what I'm saying? We got to shout out Blue Carpet. You know what I'm
Blue
saying?
Carpet.
We
Yes,
can't
yes,
we
yes.
can't we can't forget our
Yeah,
son. You know what I'm
instrumental.
saying?
My son is a
Bang
legend.
out. You know what I'm saying? Paulie
Yes,
Papers.
Holy
You know,
Papers. Damn, yeah.
just Divine. Even though Divine. I ain't gonna say nothing else. But just everybody that ever helped us out and did something towards I gotta shout out Courtney. Both Courtneys.
Oh,
Courtney at the label. Both Courtneys at the
epic.
label.
Yeah.
Because Courtney was the one that said yes to us from a record label perspective. Everybody else was sold, but we still needed somebody to say yes to us and believe in us. So Courtney, you know what I'm saying? And just,
And I tell them the story as well. Courtney, she co-signed for us, and then
right.
they axed their whole department. They got rid of the promotional department at Epic because
Yes.
they brought us on to do online media, which was a new department.
Yes.
So the sister ended up co-signing up for us, and that ended up being her demise.
Yes.
So we want to super shot her and that entire department, that entire team out.
Everybody.
Politics to the music industry.
Right.
But they showed us love, and we will be eternally thankful for them.
Exactly.
Right?
We learned a lot. So, like I said, if I missed anybody, please forgive me. But, the story going to be told. This was a prequel. We going to lay it out there for y'all, and we going to show y'all a lot of stuff that y'all haven't seen and really do justice to my boy Legacy and, protect Nip's legacy. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can say. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. All right. Salute. Appreciate you.
All right, man. I'm out. Peace and love, yo. One.
Peace. Yes, indeed, y'all. So that was major. You know what I'm saying? That was major. Had an opportunity, to pay homage to this brother and, to pay homage to Majesty, to pay homage to all of the people who were instrumental, you know what I'm saying, in the work that we did over a decade ago. You know what I'm saying? The sweat, equity that we put into this brother and his legacy, you know what I'm saying? The gamble that we took, the faith, the belief that we had, to see all of that coming to full fruition now. Like, you don't really understand what it means because I've never gotten to the full energy of the story. You know what I'm saying? But you got a glimpse of a different aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? We were able to open up a different chamber. And I got a text while I was doing this from his mother. You know what I'm saying? And, of course, I sent her message first this morning, sending our love and everything. So I'm always good in my spirit to hear that she's good in her spirits. You know what I'm saying? And that always just keeps me level and grounded. More so than anything because the people, right, seem to forget about the family. We're not just talking about this individual in particular. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about period across the board. You know what I mean? We just forget about